Protests and violence across the nation tonight after a grand jury decision in Louisville, Kentucky. Plus,
from Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tim McGonigal. Keely Van Middendorp is off tonight. First at 10, a grand jury decided one of the police officers involved in the shooting of Breonna Taylor will face criminal charges, but not for her death. And as night fell, protests intensified with instances of violence. Despite a new curfew, 2 Louisville police officers were wounded in a shooting earlier this evening. CBS News correspondent Jerika Duncan has the latest from Louisville.
No justice! No peace!
Protesters took to the streets after a grand jury charged one Louisville officer, but not for the shooting death of Breonna Taylor.
They're basically saying it's illegal to murder black people in the streets or in their sleep. It's sad to say, but we're used to it, them getting away with murder.
Several protesters were arrested amid some clashes, and Kentucky's governor ordered the state National Guard to protect city infrastructure after Wednesday's announcement. A grand jury charged fired officer Brett Hankison with 3 counts of wanton endangerment for firing into the homes of Taylor's neighbors during a March 13th narcotics investigation. No drugs were ever found in Taylor's home.
The decision before my office as the special prosecutor in this case was not to decide if the loss of Miss Taylor's life was a tragedy. The answer to that question is unequivocally yes.
The panel brought no charges against any of the 3 officers in connection with the 26-year-old emergency room technician's death.
It's the wrong decision. They only mentioned one cop. There's a whole string of people that are at fault for this tragic incident.
Taylor was shot 6 times in the hallway of her apartment.
She's in the sanctity of her home, the place where you are expected to be safe.
Taylor's boyfriend, who has said he mistook the officers for intruders, opened fire first, hitting an officer in the leg. If convicted, Hankison faces up to 15 years behind bars. Jerika Duncan, CBS News, Louisville, Kentucky.
Closer to home, the Great Falls Police Department is increasing its effort to use social media to help prevent car break-ins. The GFPD has posted a graphic to Facebook that lists tips for preventing break-ins. Recently, there's been a spike in break-ins. The Facebook post is something the department has done before, but it will now be made more frequently.
We've received positive feedback and comments to that effect from some of our viewers. If property isn't getting broken into and people have protected their valuables, then we consider it a success.
To see the Facebook post, click on the link in this story on our website. Well, the number 2 leader at the Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office is retiring next week. Under Sheriff Jason Grimace is leaving the Sheriff's Office after 27 years of service. He became Undersheriff in 2017. Since then, his biggest responsibility has been overseeing the major remodel and expansion of the county's detention center. The next stop for Grimace, Carroll College, where he will be the Director of Campus Safety and Security. He says he was honored to serve the public and is grateful to everyone he worked with at the Sheriff's Office.
I wish everybody best wishes, and they are always going to be in my prayers in the future. Those that wear blue, brown, green, that carry a badge. It's a difficult job. It's a tough job. It's a very unappreciated job at times, but when it is appreciated, there's no warmer feeling in the world than feeling like you've just helped people out.
Sheriff Leo Dutton told MTN that the undersheriff is an important position, and he praised Grimace for his work in that role. Dutton said he will start looking for a replacement in the coming weeks. Well, the Montana High School Association has announced updates to its fall sports postseasons today, including significant changes in the sport of volleyball. To continue its efforts of social distancing and reducing the risk of coronavirus spread, postseason volleyball will have the choice of competing in a bracket format where visiting teams travel to each host team or playing in a multi-team tournament at a site with at least 2 gymnasiums. The other big update announced today is the requirement for host sites to allow spectators for home and visiting teams.
We are requiring for postseason that the local community, the host site, has to provide 2 tickets for the visiting team and at least minimum of 2 tickets for the home team also. This is postseason, and we've always been worried, as you know, about having a parent on site if there's injury, because that can happen. It does happen. We know that. but also it is postseason. We'd like to sure be able to have at least their parents watch them as they progress through postseason.
Other updates announced by the MHSA on Wednesday include the state cross-country meet in Kalispell, moving from 1 day to 2, October 23rd and 24th. Again, volleyball will have the option of higher seed hosts in a bracket format or a tournament format with at least 2 gymnasiums. You can read more about the postseason updates by clicking on this story at montanasports.com. Alluvian Health is expanding service, but not healthcare service. The company is getting ready to open a tutoring center for a small fee. Employees will be able to send their kids Monday through Friday to get help with their schoolwork. A former Great Falls Public Schools teacher who was with the district for 7 years before being hired by Alluvian will provide the tutoring.
I think the staff is really excited to utilize the facility. I just think that it gives them a peace of mind knowing that their kids can get support and that we're flexible with their schedule. I mean, that's really the whole point.
The center is expected to be open next week and be open through at least December. Well, if you're a teacher who needs some extra help in the classroom, you may be in luck. Officials with the Foster Grandparents Program in Great Falls are preparing for a meeting with the school district. The Foster Grandparent Program employs low-income seniors across Cascade County. It's a federally funded program. Foster grandparents mentor and tutor students with extra needs. They haven't been allowed in school buildings since March, but that could change after next week's meeting. Frankie Christensen has been a foster grandparent at East Middle School for nearly a decade. She says not seeing the kids has been hard on her.
They're my life. I'm not used to this. I'm with my kids at all times. And I wonder how they're doing, what become of them.
And that meeting will take place next Wednesday with the GFPS assistant superintendent. Well, if you're still undecided in the race for Montana's next governor, maybe the running mates will help you decide. Both Lieutenant Governor hopefuls live in Great Falls, and when it comes to north central Montana, they both have strong connections and deep roots.
So we're sitting here in North Kiwanis Park, and I literally grew up 2 blocks away. I currently live right across the street from where we're sitting right now.
I was born and raised in Conrad, Montana on my family's ranch. I'm a 4th-generation Montanan.
Casey Schreiner grew up in Great Falls and graduated from Montana State University. The former science teacher and his wife have 3 kids. Schreiner is completing his 4th and final term in the Montana House, where he serves as minority leader. He was among Democrats in the running for the governor job before dropping out of the race in February. Kristen Juris was born and raised in Conrad. She got her undergraduate degree from the University of Montana before going to law school in Georgia. Her career as an attorney includes stops in Georgia and Oklahoma before returning to Montana in 1988. She and her husband live in Great Falls and have 3 children and 2 grandchildren. She ran unsuccessfully for Montana Supreme Court in 2016. As a lawyer, she's spent 38 years helping farmers, ranchers, and small business owners.
And it's given me great insight to see where the friction is when small business owners, agricultural operators are working with government, where processes need to be improved, where they need to be streamlined.
Schreiner believes his experience in a diverse legislature is what's needed in the governor's office.
Mike and I were in the room negotiating Medicaid expansion, which not only provided health insurance for 90,000 Montanans, it also keeps our rural hospitals open, which is the lifeblood of some of our rural economies.
And Schreiner says, like many Montanans, he knows what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck.
You know, as a guy who lost his teaching job when we didn't pass a mill levy in this community a few years back, I kind of went and tried to hustle. I worked in real estate for a little bit, and I had the opportunity to go work in our local job service office. And at the time, the lieutenant governor was serving an administrative role over our job services.
Juris says she was excited to get the call from Gianforte to join the ticket. She says his success as a job creator hits close to home.
My youngest son, when he graduated in 2012 from Montana Tech, he could not find a job in Montana. Well, just last year, my youngest son was able to come back. He was offered a job in Bozeman due to the growth in the high-tech industry that was generated in large part by Greg and Susan Gianforte.
Juris says if Gianforte wins the office in November, she has no plans to take a back seat.
I am not just going to be a candidate, a lieutenant governor that cuts ribbons. I'm going to go to work cutting the red tape. We will be doing a top-to-bottom agency review, identifying outdated, unnecessary, redundant regulations.
For Schreiner, he believes his professional and personal experience are what sets him apart.
So it's not an accident that Mike chose a former public school teacher, somebody who has actually experienced what education budget cuts do. It's not an accident that Mike picked a special needs parent. 2 of my sons are on the autism spectrum. Mike understands that we should have diverse perspectives and that every Montana deserves representation.
Well, coming up this weekend, MTN will kick off our series of debates for some of Montana's top races, starting Saturday with the battle for the U.S. House. Democrat Kathleen Williams and Republican Matt Rosendale will take center stage with our panel of reporters, including Jay Cohn, Jill Valley, and Mike Dennison. You can watch that Saturday night on KXLH and KRTV or with the KRTV streaming app for Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, or Android TV. Winds are picking up and expecting to strengthen. Meteorologist Grant Garland is here now to tell us more. Good evening, Grant.
Good evening, Tim, and good evening, everyone. You're exactly right. Today we saw winds at around 31 miles an hour here in the Electric City, and we were able to get up to around 30 in Cut Bank. Tomorrow, you can expect those numbers to double for the most part. Taking a look here, seeing those in Cut Bank tomorrow, looking at 70 to 80 mile per hour winds possible from Teton Pass up to Chester, anywhere from 60 to 70 miles an hour, out towards Augusta to Geraldine, Fort Benton, and as well as Fort Belknap, Glasgow, Jordan. A lot of areas are going to be able to see 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusting at a given time. And those in Helena and Lewistown. Now, you guys aren't going to see quite as windy conditions, but still 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. Yeah, that's windy to me. 62 degrees right now in Great Falls as well as Helena, and 60 in Lewistown as well as Havre. Clouds have been building into the area over the last 3 hours. Tonight, temperatures will fall down to right around 51 degrees in Helena, 53 in Great Falls as well as Lewistown, and a little bit warmer in Jordan at 55. So not only are we looking at a windy day tomorrow, but also a critical fire weather day. And we're going to talk about all this and more in a few minutes. But for now, back to you, Tim.
More and more residents are stocking their freezers with Montana beef. I'm Keely Van Middendorp, and your Montana Ag Network report is next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Welcome back. Since March, a ranch in Highwood has seen more demand for packaged meat, and it's prompting numerous possibilities as market uncertainty continues. The Montana Ag Network's Keely Van Middendorp has more.
They love that stuff. It's just like candy for them.
Big Sky Montana Beef and Malik Angus Ranch owner Ty Malik says he's seen a big demand for local beef as more families eat at home during the pandemic.
Quarters of beef, halves of beef, whole beef.
He says the most popular product in recent months has been ground beef as residents look to stock up their freezers.
Our biggest demand has just been straight hamburger. People eat a ton of hamburger. They love it.
Now, Malik tells me demand for packaged meat products is up significantly. He estimates that sales have increased around 40% since March.
And we're gaining customers every day.
Big Sky Montana Beef is also supplying more meat to area restaurants who now rely on private producers like Malik for product after shortages hit grocery store aisles earlier this spring.
They couldn't only buy a few packages, or they were limited in quantity, and that's not very good for restaurants when they're using hundreds of pounds a week or month.
The third-generation Montana rancher says the uncertainty of the pandemic has led to a focus on eating local, a cause he says residents should prioritize moving forward.
You know where your meat comes from. I mean, you can, just like right now, you can come out here in the pasture and see it standing in the pasture. And if you get it from us, whereas your stuff you buy on the shelf, you don't know where it comes from.
Malik is even considering adding another protein to his plate as customers continue to buy up beef.
We actually been thinking about getting into buying some pigs. I told my wife about it the other day, and she says, we don't have a pen for them, so we have to build one, but that wouldn't be the end of the world.
For the Montana Ag Network, I'm Keely Van Middendorp.
Malik is also using social media to sell more local beef. We have a link to their Facebook page on our websites. And as residents purchase more Montana protein, storing all of that meat for winter may be difficult for some shoppers due to the pandemic. MTN News checked with Eklund's Appliances in Great Falls, who said freezers have been the hardest item to stock over the past few months.
We have probably 50 to 75 people on a list for freezers. It's taken 2 and 3 months sometimes to get some freezers.
Eklund says manufacturers and factories are working at limited capacities, causing a disruption in the supply chain. And it's not just freezers that are often out of stock. Eklund told MTN News everything from kitchen appliances and barbecues to washers and dryers is in high demand.
I have 1.2 million back orders right now. That's unheard of. I mean, so yeah, it's really tough to get appliances right now.
Eklund says they're used to seeing an increase in freezer purchases around this time of year with the start of hunting season. They do have several units available, but says he's not used to seeing the store this empty.
Well, a cold front is making its way through the area tomorrow morning. We're going to talk about what it will all bring after this break.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Grant Garland.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you have had a great Wednesday night. Temperatures today got up to the upper 70s, around 79 degrees in Great Falls, 77 in Helena. As you headed out towards Jordan, 79 as well. A little bit cooler out over towards Glasgow at 73 degrees. Now, the average for this time of year is right around 67. So, yes, we were well above that, but at least we weren't near the record high, which was set back in 1966 when it was 93 degrees. Also the year that the old animation of How the Grinch Stole Christmas came out. Love that movie as a kid. Temperatures right now 60 degrees in Lewistown as well as Havre, 62 in Great Falls as well as Helena. Down towards Butte, a little bit cooler at 57 degrees and looking at 59-degree temperatures out towards Jordan. Now it was a very windy day today, 31-mile-per-hour winds gusting in Great Falls, 16 down towards Bozeman, 30 up towards Cut Bank, and 25 in Miles City. We're going to see these numbers double though as we head into tomorrow, so heads up on that. As far as the last 3 hours are concerned, clouds have been making their way out towards the east for a partly cloudy to mostly cloudy kind of night. We are looking at a couple of watches and warnings. We're seeing a high wind warning for those in Cut Bank, down towards the for pretty much everyone from the central to eastern parts of Montana, a fire weather watch, and we're also looking at a high wind watch for those around Havre. Now we're going to go ahead and start breaking this down for you. So the winds tomorrow, looking at winds gusting anywhere from 20 to 30, 40, some 50 to 60 mile-per-hour winds, and this kind of better plots it out for you. For Great Falls alone, 55 mile-per-hour winds tomorrow possible by Friday into Saturday, 30 mile-per-hour winds before they jump back up to right around 35 on Sunday. And the reason why we're seeing that critical fire weather is because, and take notice of this shape too, where we're really not seeing Helena involved in it. We're seeing mostly those from Great Falls to Glasgow and to Billings down. And here's why. Due to this cold front right here, as it moves into the area tomorrow morning, watch what happens with the moisture. It stays really behind the front, and as it gets closer to Great Falls, it starts to sink south. So we don't really see that moisture be brought out towards the eastern part of the state, and that's one of the reasons also why we're looking at that critical fire weather, mainly staying towards the eastern part of the state, not including Helena. Now we could see a few showers trigger down towards south of Lewistown into Billings as we head throughout the night tomorrow. Then our next system approaches from the west, low pressure with a cold front that's going to be bringing another shot of rain, a better chance for us here in central and north central Montana on Friday night into Saturday. As far as the rain is concerned, like we just saw with that rain that comes in the morning, it's going to come at us very slowly and then push down towards the south. So we're not really going to see all that rain. Temperatures, thanks to that cold front, 63 degrees on Saturday, then warming back up into the 70s as we head into next work week. You can always stay weather aware by following me on social media at meteorologist Grant Garland on Facebook and downloading those free KRTV and KXLH apps. Temperatures tonight, 53 in Great Falls as well as Lewistown, 54 in Glasgow. As we head throughout the day tomorrow, 67-degree temperatures. We will definitely keep the winds in the next couple of days in our forecast, as well as the chances for showers with us Friday and Saturday, even some on Sunday for drying back out on Monday. And for our friends in Helena, really the same situation, an even better chance though for showers as we head into the later part of the work week. And then we'll start drying out too by Monday. Tim?
Thanks, Grant. We're in the heart of our If You Give a Child a Book campaign. Coming up, meet some of the young learners you're helping through the initiative.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Well, on Tuesday, we heard from teachers and staff at West Elementary regarding the importance of childhood literacy. And as our If You Give a Child a Book campaign continues, Tom Wiley hears directly from the students themselves about how reading has impacted their lives.
For educators, there's no greater joy than watching their students learn to read.
It's amazing to see the looks on their faces when they crack the code, if you will, of reading. It's just priceless.
But for the students here at West Elementary, reading is so much more than just putting sounds and words together. It can be an escape and an outlet.
Reading just helps me escape from my life and go into another.
I enjoy books because when I open it, I can get all my stress off. So then it gets my mind off of things.
Sierra Noyar and Jocelyn Baker are students at West Elementary, where the staff has helped them learn to read and develop a passion for books.
The librarians here, they help me out a lot. And they recommend me books. And I mean, before I liked reading, but I wouldn't spare my time. But now I'd rather read than go out and socialize.
I couldn't really read when I was younger, so I didn't really like them. But now since I am able to pronounce words and understand them, now I'm getting better at reading, and now I love reading.
They're thrilled at the prospect of receiving new books through the Scripps Howard Foundation's If You Give a Child a Book campaign, not just for themselves, for their classmates and those who lack access to books. You know, what's your feeling when you open up a new book for the first time?
Exhilaration.
I would just say keep reading, and then you may like it, because then you'll see the mysteries and all the excitement in the books.
In Great Falls, Tom Wiley, MTN News.
Of the 420 students enrolled at West, 82% of them qualify for free or reduced price lunches due to socioeconomic status. And to help raise money to put books in the hands of students in need, you can visit KRTV or KXLH.com/giveabook. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Well, just remember, tomorrow is going to be a breezy day, 70-80 mile-per-hour winds in Cut Bank and 50 to 60 mile-per-hour winds for a lot of us here in the Electric City. We are expecting temperatures to stay below the average on Friday and Saturday, with showers possible this weekend. And that's the same situation for our friends in Helena. Showers possible Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Finally, in the country of Georgia, new mom Belly clearly has her work cut out. These are her 1-month-old Georgian Shepherd pups, all 17 of them. The usual litter for a Georgian Shepherd is between 3 and 10 puppies, but when Belly started to give birth in August of this year, the delivery went on and on and on. For 18 hours, it resulted in 17 healthy puppies, 9 females and 8 males. So pretty good balance there. Cute puppies.
My goodness, give her, what is it, pedigree or whatever food she wants, all of it.
And give her a medal to boot. That's all the time we have. Have a great night.